We finally get to meet Renee, Whitney, Ella, and Sondi in the STARZ new hit comedy series, Run the World. Let's talk about episode 1. Y'all know I have been talking about this series for months. One of my favorite actresses and comedians, Bresha Webb, a Baltimore native, is starring as Renee in the series, and I am being introduced to her three co-stars. Amber Stevenson West, who plays Whitney, Andrea Bordeaux, who plays Ella, and Corbin Reid, who plays Sondi for the first time. However, in watching this first episode, I definitely can see the chemistry that these four phenomenal actresses have. Their characters play so beautifully together, bounce off of each other, complement one another, and this season is certainly going to be a very wild but relatable ride. So for this episode breakdown, I'm going to switch it up a little bit and I'm just going to focus on the characters. This is the series premiere, the season premiere. We are just meeting these girls for the very first time. So I figured I would focus on each girl and what happened for them in the episode versus going down the list of the things that happened and talking about them in chronological order, just so that we can get a very clear understanding of where we're starting at with each of these main characters and what they have going on, child, because they got some things going on. First up, I want to start with Ella McFair. Ella is the girlfriend that is restarting but not ready. She is super talented, a writer, and just needs a kick in the pants, but is certainly destined for greatness. She's recovering from her book bombing and not being able to really set her literary career ablaze and flourish how she had planned. She feels like she is failing and probably about to hit rock bottom as she takes a new writing job at a entertainment gossip website. In addition, one of the major plot points for this episode is the friends going in support of Ella to an actual event that she needs to cover for her actual new job. And at that event, they get G-checked about their age. She runs into an ex and or the previous love of her life and decides to make some very impromptu, still yet to be decided, bad decision of having sex with a peer. Well, I guess you can't really say that she had sex with him because he couldn't get it up, but she tried. All of these friends are like well-to-do, intelligent, ambitious black women, but they all have their little quirks. And Ella reminds me of the friend that has every reason in the book to be the most secure, confident, just borderline arrogant person in the room, but she's not. She seems like the one who is going to go on the journey of still being in love with her ex and having a lot of her validation tied to what this person did to her, what this person thinks of her, and how she thinks of herself in relation to looking back on that relationship. And I'm excited to actually see where that story goes because, child, when she kissed that ex in the bathroom, I was like, oh, girl. There is so much history, love, tension, and pending disaster in that kiss. Overall, I really enjoy Ella as a character because she, to me, is skirting the lines of just being really talented, really capable, but also getting in her own way and probably being the reason for her own false starts, which is something that rings true for so many of us, whether it is something that applies to our overall lives or a specific season in our life. Now on to Renee, the funny one in the group. And she seems like, just from the first episode, y'all, I'm just going to take a wild guess, she also seems like the strong one in the group. So you got to watch these. As I mentioned, Renee is played by phenomenal actress and comedian Bresha Webb, who brings a great deal of levity, hilarity, but also seriousness to the role. And I like watching how she like seamlessly moved in and out of emotions. You can tell that she is from episode 1 stacking a character that masks a lot of her pain and what she's going through in comedy and making light of her situation as well as other people's situation. Renee is the outspoken, confident, and completely comical friend that will be the glue that keeps everyone together. In this first episode, we don't get a ton of Renee's story aside from learning that she is the married friend. However, we don't actually get to see the relationship, and she is really just a support system throughout this episode, whether she's helping Whitney with the invitations with the rest of the girls, or being a wing woman at the club with Ella as she's trying to get her interview with Soldier Boy, calling Ella to wake her up. I love how one of the first major scenes that we see Renee in, she's actually in a bodega. She's ordering a bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich that tends to be her regular morning breakfast. And in the moment, she gets to interact with the Karen, who is just really violating her personal space, is reaching over her, is acting like she's invisible, is kind of disregarding her. And she checks her in the moment, but she doesn't do so super nastily, but she does it in a way of like, just know that I'm here, know that I matter, and girl, you're trying it. And I absolutely love that they included this scene because so often this happens to black women, and we don't get to do this. We don't actually get to call out the ridiculousness that is someone walking up your back and down your front, that is reaching over you, that is stepping in front of you and acting like you're not there. And I don't know, it was something about watching her in this moment really stand up for herself and make her presence known, because so very often we are asked to, and not like asked directly, but we are asked implicitly to fall back, make ourselves smaller, or make ourselves invisible so that other people can frolic throughout the world uninterrupted. And it's like, no, I'm here. I'm going to take up space. I've been waiting in line. This is my sandwich. You cannot take my sandwich. You cannot cross over me. Like, girl, you're doing way too much. I think that this scene also gave us a very good character moment for Renee. So we see exactly the woman that we're going to get this season and what we can expect in all of the various situations that she's going to be thrown into. I absolutely loved it. Now, moving on, child. Moving on to our good soon to be wed Whitney. Whitney is the engaged friend who is having second thoughts, not just about her relationship, but also about her life choices from her pretty princess palace. If I feel like I'm going to be judgmental of anybody on in this friend group, it will probably be Whitney. She appears to be the girl who has the pretty privilege. She appears to be the girl who has it all, has been given it all, and it's not good enough. And not that you should settle at all at any moment, but the fact that she's arriving at this moment in her life and she's gone along with a lot of the things that might have been given to her, that might have been provided to her, and then deciding that now she doesn't want it. It's like, girl, this is the 11th hour. Whitney really, I am looking forward to seeing where her journey goes, because we don't get a ton of information about her at the start of this series. So in this episode, we just learned that she's engaged, she's marrying an African man, she's struggling with planning this wedding, with balancing the families and the traditions, the specific African traditions that are being asked of her. She don't want to do that. Then we get to see that she could potentially be interested in other guys, and then she actually follows through with sleeping with someone else. But girl, you're still engaged and you're going to be married very soon. So what is actually happening? And not only did she sleep with somebody else, but she sleep with someone who Ella has already communicated to her was the community peen. And literally was like, Renee has slept with him, I have slept with him, so and so has slept with him. And she's like, oh, okay, great, I'll go sleep with him too. Like, girl, what? I am not too sure about Whitney, y'all. And from the trailers that we have seen, we see that she actually is going to go through a breakup. So I don't think that the wedding is actually going to wind up happening, which makes sense because, girl, you just cheated on your fiance. But I don't know if I feel bad for her yet. I haven't gotten enough to really be able to understand or feel bad for where she is in life, because it feels like she chose to be there. It feels like she allowed a lot of things to happen. And maybe her journey and her arc of this season will be this awakening of deciding to stop playing passive and passenger in her own life and actually make some decisions for herself if she wants something different. Child, we gonna see. And last but certainly not least is the flavorful, sultry, stand-up Sondi. Okay, Sondi is a PhD student, pro-black sweetheart that wants to right racial wrongs and is focused on positivity, respect, and poise. Dating her thesis professor and helping to raise his young daughter, Child, Sondi is running amok in this episode. She goes off on the director of Amari, who is her thesis professor's daughter. She goes off on a director at the ballet school because of some comments that are made about late tuition as well as Amari's nutrition. And y'all, I'm trying to figure it out. I'm trying to figure out if this was actually a microaggression or not because I know that the ballet world is something on a whole other level. It is mad strict. Ballerina bodies, they are very, very particular about ballerina bodies, all the way down to the ounces within, body fat and all that kind of stuff. So she is given a brochure that is to talk about Amari's nutrition and to give tips for how to maintain her nutrition in certain ways so that she's able to maintain a certain ballerina body type. And while I want to go with Sondi and be like, oh, this is giving microaggression, this is giving racism, because the director does make a comment in reference to, oh, we want to give this to you now so that you can get ahead of it because, girls of her body type, right? And it's like she's one of the only black girls in this ballet school. She's like, girls of this body type, will have to be able to manage, and this is this nutrition guide will help basically. So it's like, girl, yes, black women have curves and all of that going on. So okay, her body type, black women's body type, but she's like, this girl has to be only like 8. They haven't confirmed how old she is, but I feel like she's either between the ages of 8 to 10. And it's a yeah no for me. And then late tuition is late tuition. So if you feel some type of way, Sondi, because they're saying like, oh, we typically don't allow you to pay late, but if you need a payment plan or something, that just is what it is because y'all are late on the payments. So I'm not going to give the racial charge to them for that, but the whole conversation around this 8 to 10-year-old's body and, making sure that she stays lean and doing it in the guise of, oh, this is the nutrition guide. Like, I'm really trying to figure out if it was intentional or if the writers were writing in a way for it to be an intentional underlying microaggression, or if it was just literally this woman doing what she would do with all the other girls. We wouldn't know because Sondi yanks Amari out of that school so fast that our heads spin, child. And that is something that tracks with Sondi throughout the whole episode. She's struggling with her relationship with her boyfriend because while she is being a great pseudo stepmom to Amari, she's overdoing it in the racial undertones of the conversations that she has at the start of the episode. She gives Amari new ballet shoes that are brown and not pink, and she does so and says, well, she needs something that's going to be new to her skin tone, and this pink is not new to her skin tone. This pink that is the standard ballet slipper is new to a white girl skin tone, and let me give her something that's going to actually be new for her, which to me, she has all the best intentions in the world. But he does check her later on, like, yo, she's a young girl. Maybe she wants to wear the pink ballet slippers because she wants to wear the pink ballet slippers because Amari winds up fake leaving the slippers at home and basically not wanting to wear them. So there's tons of conversation around Sondi and how pro-black she is, how ready she is to stand up and fight. And then I think that this is going to present the conversation throughout the series where when is it time to actually make these stands, or are we overly sensitive? Are we too quick to jump to conclusions and all of that? Which I think is going to be a very, very interesting conversation to have, especially in the climate that we are in now. Because at least for me, everything that I saw Sondi do, it's like, okay, girl, I can see that, but what if this wasn't the case? So it's definitely a toss-up, and I think Lee Davenport, the creator and writer of this show, did a really great job with posing these open-ended questions and starting these lines of dialogue around these really, really cool themes. And we're going to get back to how Sondi is sleeping with her thesis professor. Because, girl, that's a hot mess, but he is fine. But that's a hot mess, sis. The overall themes discussed in this episode, which I believe will track through the rest of the series and we will dive a little bit deeper into, are aging, black nationalism, and the or the lack thereof, complex relationships, including age difference dynamics, children, exes, maybe marrying the wrong one, and interpersonal relationships with your female best friends. Like I told y'all, I've been very excited to see this series. I don't want to call it the Black Sex in the City, but it's definitely giving Sex in the City vibes, and it is at its core just made to be very, 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 very authentic and relatable, which I'm excited for. I'm excited to see these four different black women, first of all, attacking the idea of, black women being a monolith and operating in one way. This friend group is very diverse in personality and ambition and motivation, and I think that ensemble complements themselves their ensemble complements each other beautifully. And again, it makes for a freaking interesting ride that we are going to go on in this 10 episode season. If you're looking to catch up on Run the World on Starz, episode 1 premiered on Sunday, May 16th on Starz. You could also catch up with it on the Starz app, and the episodes will be premiering every Sunday moving forward for the next 9 weeks. So go ahead and check it out. Now it is your turn. If you have watched the episode and then watched this video, tell me what you think about Run the World on Starz. Who is your favorite girlfriend of this friend group? And what was the funniest thing that you saw in the episode? I want to know all that and more in the comment section down below. It's your girl Erika Vane, and I post all of your favorite television shows as well as new television series breakdowns, character breakdowns, updates, film reviews, as well as entertainment news. I am posting multiple times a day, and you should really join the tribe by hitting subscribe. Go ahead and like this video because you made it to the end, so I know that you liked it, and I look forward to interacting with you in the comment section. I will have a Run the World playlist to keep track of all of the episode breakdowns, and we're going to talk about these characters a little bit more, child, because some of these people hurt me and my friends. And I would love to know if they are like you and your friends. And if you're looking for something new to watch, I have 2 suggestions for you right here. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.